Pregame.com.
And welcome back to Pregame.tv. Ken Thomson, your host, sitting in for senior handicapper Marco D'Angelo, along with my main man, Bryan Leonard. And Bryan, we switch now to the NFL. New Orleans off a sluggish start early, got it together against Buffalo, won 35-17, got the win and the cover. Now they go on the road to take on the Jets. Jets got lambasted 49-9. And I talked with Marco last week. I said, if you get in the face of Geno Smith, you can create havoc. Bengals did that, and they have a good, solid pass rush.
Yeah, the Bengals lately have been a team you really want to ride, especially offensively. I mean, they've had a lot of success out of the quarterback, which is really the only questionable part of the entire team. Yeah, this is Marco's play here, and I agree with him. This line opened 3.5 and in parts far away, as they say.
Right.
Didn't last there very long. Now it's all the way up to 6. And if you take a look at New Orleans, you know, it's not a good spot in their schedule. Next week they go Sunday Night Football. They're hosting the Dallas Cowboys, a team that's very likely to win that division, possible playoff participant.
And the Rob Ryan going against the Cowboys.
Yep, definitely. And, you know, you take a look at the Saints. They played great ball all season. The only game they lost is the game against the Patriots. They probably shouldn't have lost that game at all.
They definitely should. It cost me a few pennies. That
yeah,
play.
Well, I was on the opposite side, so I was pretty happy on that one. But
no wonder you're smiling over there.
Yeah, well, it's my one lucky winner this year. It happens. It happens. Going to go 50-50 on those. But, you know, New York it was really amazing is they had really excellent defensive numbers until last week. So now when you're looking at the Jets' numbers on the entire season, how do you treat that? Because it seemed like after a while it was sort of like give-up time. I mean, they had other things on their plate. So when you're looking at your numbers, you can't go straight off the numbers based on certain blowout situations. So you know, a lot of guys will throw out certain stats over those. So keep in mind when you're doing your own stats in these games, that's something to look at. And I'd like to make this official. I don't want to give out everything here. You've got a lot more to say on these games as I do. So let me make this thing official. All right, we're making it official. We will take the New York Jets, Marco and I. And you know, I don't know what Marco's reasoning on this was, but I know what my reasoning is. You've got a team right now in a bad situation. You've got New Orleans on the road laying 6 points. Obviously, the Saints are not the same team at home as they are on the road. On the road, they've struggled to win these games. Remember back when they got lucky to win at Tampa Bay. Now look at Tampa Bay. So it's a totally different situation for some of these teams playing at home in the Dome and then going on the road. You got a Jets team right here, and I talked about how the defensive numbers were a little bit skewed because they looked so good early on, but look at the teams they played. They played Tampa Bay, New England twice, Pittsburgh. All those teams have struggled offensively all season long, so we do have some concerns here about the Jets' defense, but the spot is screaming the Jets here. And if you look at a team at the schedule here, the Jets are off that embarrassing performance against Cincinnati. Next week, they're on a bye. The last thing these professional football players want to do is come off 2 bad performances going into the bye. I expect the best performance of the season right here out of the Jets. I think we're getting value at +6. We'll take New York here, the ugly dog playing at home. All right, once again, the New York Jets is our play, plus the 6 points here. Just a great spot play. What's your thoughts on this one?
Well, you know what? I'm just going to go with the 2 situational guys I know. Both you and Marco are situational handicappers, and I know that's his reasoning for taking the Saints, and you make good sense. I'm not going to go against it. I've learned a lot on the NFL side of things from a lot of you situational handicappers because initial thing is, you know, Joe Public, what are you going to do right away? You see New Orleans 18 points, even though they started slow against Buffalo. They're going to cover for sure, but you're right. Home-road dichotomy, as they say. You got to be careful, especially a dome team going outside. And the Jets, to me, when they pressure the opposing quarterback, somebody like Breeze, they are tough to beat at home.
And just for those looking in the future here, if you're one of those guys that plays openers, Dallas travels to New Orleans next week. And when New Orleans and Seattle, we've talked about this in the past, are playing a home game and they've got reason to play, those are teams that are tough to beat in their home environment. So I don't know what kind of line we're going to get on that, but if it's less than a touchdown with Dallas, I think we're going to see a lot of Saints money in that game, so get on that game early.
Yeah, you make good point there. As we see Seattle, a huge favorite against Tampa this Sunday coming up, coming off an embarrassing offensive performance in St. Louis. So just goes to show you got to know those home teams and how they do on the road as well. That's a good play from Bryan and from Marco as they both agree on the New Orleans Saints. We'll be back with some more plays. We've got a college play coming up and then a couple more pro plays. So stay with us. Ken Thomson, Bryan Leonard, Pregame.tv.